Welcome back. We're talking with political analysts Charley Manning and Joanna Weiss, and on the ballot 2 weeks from Tuesday, when you go in the voting booth, there will be statewide referendum questions. One of the most notable ones is a proposal to lift the cap on the number of charter schools. I believe it would allow for 18 new charters each year, over and above the number that are currently, and there are tens of thousands of families on the waiting list to get into these charter schools, which operate, there are public schools that use public funds but operate mostly free of union constraints. So there's been a pitched battle over this, with obviously the teacher unions bitterly opposed to charters, always have been, on one side, with Marty Walsh, the mayor of Boston, a charter school supporter who's nonetheless siding with them, versus Governor Baker and minority residents who are some of the primary boosters of and beneficiaries of charter schools. There have been conflicting poll results. Let me start with you on this one, Charley. What do you make of the way this is playing out?
You know, I thought it was going to be an easy win for the charter school advocates. I think the case that you can make for charter schools and choice, especially for, as you said, you know, city-oriented minority families, is a good case to make. And I don't know that the advocates have been doing that. And we just saw this week that the NAACP amazingly came out and asked for a ban on any new charter schools. It turned out, of course, they had been getting hundreds of thousands of dollars from the teachers unions, but still, that the leading African-American group, advocacy group in the country, then came out against charter schools. I think it was a black eye for the NAACP.
I mean, Joanna, charter schools, not above criticism. There have been failures in that story, but by and large, Massachusetts charter schools have been some of the most successful in the country. What gives with the way this race is playing out?
Yeah, and you know, the most compelling argument on behalf of the charter schools and lifting the cap is the fact that there are 35,000 families on the waiting list in Boston who want to get into charter schools. So, the problem is that I think there's a lot of outside money pouring in, and I think that the anti-charter school forces have sort of successfully raised doubts about what's that money coming from, why is some of that money dark money and really undisclosed about who's providing it, and also what's that going to do for funding for public schools, and is this really going to siphon off money, and not just money, but sort of parental support and energy that could go into improving the charter schools.
That's been the key argument that the anti-charter school people have gotten out, that it's going to take money away from your public school. Everyone thought the suburban voters would say, wow, if this helps poor kids in the cities, we're for it. We've got great schools in the suburbs. But now they've put that doubt in their mind. Wait a minute, will Needham or Newton or Wellesley High School be getting less money if these new charter schools open? So that's the case that they've been winning.
Too bad the Mass Republican Party is such a shambles. Could be a great opportunity for them if African-American voters are turned off by the opposition of the Democratic establishment and suburban liberals to a measure that many of them really support. Anyway, I got the last word because I'm the host. Thank you both very much for being here. Joanna Weiss, Charley Manning.
Good to see you, John.
Great to see you. Appreciate your insight. Now, it's back over to my colleagues for more WBZ News.